that is what this is this morning. It's one of our educational programs, one of many. And as you can see in the background, it's our home fit. And on behalf of AARP, I want to thank Care Partners for the partnership. And we have been partnering with them for a while. And I am missing my breakfast. I am. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's find out how it is we can stay in our homes. We can age in place. We can have our home livable, our community livable. Okay, here we are. Okay. Oh, let's see, what am I doing? All right. Okay. What the Home Fit program is, it's about making homes safe and livable for everyone. And whoa, it's not moving. Oh, okay, there we are. Okay, and that's our pretty brochure. Okay, and so today I'll talk about the perks of staying in our own home, about universal design. Okay. Now, our objective is to recognize how a home can be modified to support changing needs and lifestyles at any age, to determine which modifications are important for maintaining the lifestyle that we desire, and distinguish between the modifications that are DIY and those that are best left to a professional. Because honestly, I'm one of those people, and I think, okay, I need to do this. And I run to YouTube or I run to Google, and it's how to. In fact, I was how to share a PowerPoint in a Zoom. And but sometimes we have to leave some things up to the professionals. And Catherine and our care partner, okay, they are my Zoom professionals this morning, but sometimes we need to have a professional come in. But sometimes some of the things that we can do, modifications that we can make, are really, really simple. Okay, home sweet home. Okay, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear, and I need to move me. Okay, there I am. Okay, when you hear the word home. Well, the first thing I think about when I hear the word home is my safe place, my safe space. But now there's a cost of not staying in your home. Okay, you've got the private duty home health aides. You can think of the adult daycare, which is outside the home, an assisted living facility, a nursing home, and a semi-private room. All of those things are things that we have to figure up in when we don't live in our homes. Okay, one of the things that we have to think about is universal design. And universal design is simply being able to get around and accessibility. Let's see if I can move myself again, and I can't. Okay, don't know how to go back. Okay, when we look at this picture here, if I'm in my walker, or if I'm in a wheelchair, oh God, that looks like a lovely place for me to visit. But I can't reach it. I can't go there because of the stairs. And so I'm on vacation. I'm gonna have to pass that place up. I was in Venice a couple of years ago, and I was thinking, oh, how lovely this is. But if I were physically compromised, Venice would not be a good option for me because it's not ADA friendly. I couldn't get over those little bridges. The cobblestone streets, they're lovely. They are lovely. But if I'm using my walker, I wouldn't be able to make it that long. If I'm in a wheelchair, certainly couldn't go over those bridges. Okay, this lovely house. Well, this could be your home that you bought when you first began with your family. And you thought, oh, those stairs, I can just see my little ones just climbing those stairs and we're walking up. And oh, just think when my friends come over, just think how in awe they'll be over my house coming up those stairs. But then this was when you were 20, 25, 30. But when we're 60, well, and even before then, the realization, it's like, my knees don't work exactly like they used to. And then that becomes a problem. Okay, so we have to think about the exterior of our homes and how that affects our mobility, how that affects our being able to enter and leave our home. We don't want to be trapped. So we want to think about that exterior. Okay, so now here are some modifications. The exterior, here we've got 0-step entrances. Modifications to existing entrances can take many forms, but the goal is safety and practicality. When you look, when I first began presenting on this topic, I did an assessment of my own house because I have a 96-year-old mother-in-law. And when she comes, if there are cars on the driveway that are in the wrong spot, where she can't get out and get around, she's on a walker, and she needs aid, even with the walker. So I thought, oh, I had not thought of some of these things. So I had to move some plants back. I needed to do some things. I needed to look at the type of rug that I had on my front porch. So before I could even welcome her in, we had to look at those things. So if you see here, there aren't any big plants in the way. It looks like it's a concreted area, no pebble entrances. Okay, the exterior, we have to look at the exterior, at the steps and the walker steps. Okay, again, my mother-in-law, who's 96, there's no way she could get up there with the walker. And I have a 14-year-old granddaughter who is physically challenged because of a genetic disorder. And there is no way we could get up those steps. Even turning and if you're a caregiver, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes we have to turn that the stroller or the wheelchair around, to get our loved one in and out. And this would not be good at all. This would not be a good situation. So we have to think of some alternatives. And that looks to be a concrete steps. So, that would require a professional to come in and do some work. It was lovely when we were in our 20s and 30s, and our parents were younger as well, and we didn't have to think of them. But it changes. And then again, like I said, I've got the 14-year-old who's in the wheelchair. And so it doesn't matter if she's 14 or 60 or 40 with a broke leg, or if she's 96. Okay. So now here are some things that can be done. You could install permanent ramps, temporary ramp, and then we've got the threshold ramp, because if you can see that little ledge there, sometimes it's not that easy to get over that ledge. So, and now here's another option, and we definitely have to have a professional to come in and do, and where it would lift the wheelchair. Okay. Also with the exterior, the lighting and address numbers. Okay, we want our outside lighting to be where if in an emergency, if someone had to come and give us assistance, they could readily see our numbers. And also our pathways should be lit. Okay. And now we've got the smart home. And I don't know how many of you have the smart home where, and I remember when I was a kid, the Jetsons, I was in awe of the Jetsons. Well, now we're partially living in the age of the Jetsons, where you just say what you need, and through the magic of technology, it happens. Okay, so now, do you currently have any smart home features in your home? And how do you feel about adding these smart home features? Because I know there's a lot of controversy over privacy, and sometimes our devices, we don't know exactly who has access to our devices, so that can be a concern. But then there are also some good reasons to have it. With a smart home, a virtual home assistant can turn the TV on and off, dial in the video calls and online meetings, play music and podcasts. So just think, if you're a person who's, or if your loved one has mobility problems and can't, jump up and down for different things, this will really come in handy. Playing music and podcasts. Okay, sometimes we need a little relaxation, and so we can do all of those things through our virtual assistants. Adjust the thermostats, lock and unlock doors. So there's that safety concern. Making the shopping list, placing telephone calls, and providing reminders. Some other things with the smart home, you can have your light timers, and these are low-tech things, your light timers, motion activation, your light bulb choice. If you look right above the lamp, you've got a switch where you turn the lights on and off. A lot of the homes now are going to those toggle switches because they're easy. Because sometimes with arthritis, or sometimes you have problems gripping, and so that toggle switch, and not only will that help the older person, but if you've got a young person, then you can have that grandbaby say, go turn that light on, and they can just touch that switch for you. And then the motion activated lights, those are really helpful as far as you've got the ones that you can plug in, the motion ones, and you get up in the middle of the night, you're not stumbling over things if you place them just right. Low tech, you just go to one of the big box stores, you get that, you plug it in, and it makes it so much safer for you at night. Okay, now at our entryway, the doors. Okay, this is part of the universally designed doors. Okay, if you notice this hinge, it swings clear. So it gives you a little bit more clearance, and especially when you're having to get that wheelchair through a door. Then we have the peepholes and the doorbells. Well, now we've got the video doorbell, which would be our smart home option. And then if you notice the handles, we've got the lever style door handles, not the round ones that you have to turn, which makes it a whole lot easier. And they also come in the smart home option. And what I have done, because because of the number of doors, I have gone out, and every few months or so, I'll buy one of those door handles. And so far I have changed out all of my door handles, and it makes it so much easier. I haven't tackled the front door yet with the digital door lock, but that's on the horizon. Like I said, some of these things are things that we can do, or maybe we could trade off. We have that son-in-law or nephew or niece, because we know women are handy with tools as well. Have them come over and say, I'll cook you a real nice dinner. I'll bake you a cake if you come and change out some locks for me. So sometimes we have to barter for these things. And now let's talk about our entry spaces. Okay, we want to have useful furniture. Okay, we want to have convenient storage options. And if you notice the place to put your keys and your mail, okay, we want to get into the habit. Well, I know probably some of you don't have to, but I have to be in the habit of putting my keys in the same place, so that when someone comes, it's like, oh, where did I put my keys? Where did I put my keys? But so that piece of useful furniture right there, where you hang your keys, and you got your basket where you put your keys, it makes life easier. And then then you're not running all around. And you want convenient storage options, and we want to have a clear path. And I know we've been collecting things for a long time, but sometimes, we have to have space to be able to move around without bumping into things. Okay, so we want to think about safety. Now, in the kitchen. So we have to rethink our current kitchen space. You see where it looks like there's a little desk right there? Well, guess what? That could turn into the place where you can, if you're in a wheelchair, or you use a walker, and the kind that has a seat, you can easily roll up there. You could put your things that you're using to cook with. Say you've got to chop up some veggies, or you've got to put some things together. You put those things on that little space there, and you can work. You can sit and prepare your foods. If you notice those drawers there, instead of having this great big open space where you've got your pots and pans, you can chase it out where you put your pots and pans in those drawers, and they're easier to access. And when you're looking inside the AARP Home Fit booklet, you'll be able to see a lot of different modifications. Okay, you want to adjust the lighting for the ease of use. You want lower level cabinets and pull-out shelves. You want open shelves so that you can see, and using drawers for maximizing space. Okay. And if you notice, okay, they've got their pots and pans there, and then they've got the handles where all you have to do, you don't have to grip. You can just kind of slide your fingers under there, or if you have more mobility problems, if you can, you can put your pen, you can take a pen, or you can use a little something that you use for grabbing to pull that out, or to go underneath that handle and pull it out. Okay, and if you'll also notice the design of the handle on the faucet. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the kitchen appliances. Instead of having that microwave up above the oven, we want to put it back on the counter, because it makes it a whole lot easier, and it makes it accessible. And if you'll notice, there's a lot of clear space, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because we also want to be safe, and we want to have a clear eye view. Now the bathroom. In the bathroom, there are a lot of low-cost safety devices. For one thing, now they've got, and you see the advertisements for them all the time, the prefabricated shower inserts. Now those use the same drain as the bathtub, and they're wheelchair accessible. Now, now that's not something that I would Google or go to YouTube to find. I would definitely have to find a professional, but you could do, you just do your research, and find someone that's good. If you notice the commode, it has a base riser, and they also have the taller commodes, the ADA accessible commodes. And when I was about 45, I had to have some knee surgery. And believe me, it was not easy, and it wasn't pretty trying to get up and down. So that's an accommodation that everyone could appreciate. And then you've got your transfer bench. And now with the transfer bench and the commode chair, you just have to have someone to come and put it together. But it's something that you don't need a professional to come out and do. And so that would be one of those definite low cost things that you can have, modifications that you can have. Okay, you want the grab or the assist bars. Now, we don't want the ones with the suction cups now, because those could fall down. So again, you might need a little assistance in putting those up, because you don't want the ones with the suction or the ones that you can't put up where they would where you'd be able to it would carry your weight, or when you push up on it, and then you don't want it coming out of the wall, because then you've got another problem. Now you've got a fall possibly. And so we don't want that. So that's something, I don't think I would YouTube that one. And now in our living spaces, okay, if you notice everything, there's not a lot of clutter. There are not a lot of things that you have to move around. The first thing that came to mind was that round table in the center. So no knocking your legs on that. And so we have to go through and make consideration for all of those things. You have to go around and just look and just take inventory. We want to use natural light as much as possible, and night lights, and again, those motion sensor lighters. We want the rocker style switches, or the glow in the dark light switches. So we're not patting on the wall, hitting on the wall. I know it's here somewhere. But so we want to, even if you just have to get a little neon sticker to put on there to make it easy. You want to look at your furnishings and how your furnishings play a part in your safety. Okay, and again, even though we've been accumulating things ever since we got our first apartment, it might be a little, might be time to kind of separate from some of those things. And I notice here that they whomever is baking some cookies, so you can utilize, so you don't have to be in the kitchen. Maybe you might move to that dining room and use those, use everything that you have that's available to you, even moving out of the kitchen space. We want to be safe. Okay, in our hallways and stairways, we want to think about the clearances. We want to have handrails installed, carpeting. We want to check for frayed carpeting. Okay, again, those motion sensor night lights and the treads. Okay, the stair lift, that's an alternative solution. And in our laundry room, we need to make some adaptations in our laundry room. Okay, now, what I would like for you to think about, just for a couple of seconds, are 2 quick fixes that you can tackle in the next 3 months. And that can be something as easy as rearranging the plants on the front door. You're going and checking that. Another big one for me is looking at those rugs. what, do you have those dish rag kind of rugs, the ones that you pass by and they kind of bunch up, do they have the rips underneath? Okay, that would be a quick fix. So we want to think about all of that. Okay, and then you online at aarp.org/caregiving, or you can go to AARP, or either you can just Google AARP Home Fit Guide, and you will be able to order a home fit guide, and it will have all of these things that I mentioned, and a lot of different pictures that go along with that as well. Okay, in your well, this is the one that's in our booklet. Okay, we have some resources, the aarp.org livable, because we are partnering with the city of Houston and going around and talking to them about accessibility, making Houston a livable community. And when we say livable community, we're talking about things like sidewalks. We're talking about green space, just anything to make the community more livable for seniors as well as others. Because remember what I said about my 14-year-old granddaughter? Well, she's not 65, but she needs the same accommodations. Or even if you don't need accommodations, just think if you've got a sidewalk that has cracks or whatever in it, and you've got your little one and that's riding their bicycle, and there's a crack in the sidewalk, and you get there and it's like, oh, I can't, or a tree growing on the sidewalk. Well, then you have to get into the street. Well, that's a safety issue. And so it doesn't matter whether you have mobility issues, whether you're on a walker, no matter what your age, that's an issue. So we want to have Houston as a livable community. Also, another resource is our AARP Home Fit Guide, which you'll be able to find. Okay, we've got the AARP Foundation, and that has resources. And if you go to the aarp.org /caregiving, you will find a wealth of information that has to do with having making modifications for your home, as well as other things that go along with caregiving and aging. Okay, so now there are perks to staying in your home. Okay, and then we also want to consider universal design. Okay, and out in our book, we have the home fit tour, and it takes you from one page to another. And they're available for free at aarp.org/homefit. And there are other booklets and information that's also available to you free at aarp.org. But if you go to the caregiving resources, you'll find that information. Okay. To get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us by email at houston@aarp.org. Our office number is there. On the web, aarp.org/Houston. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. We want to be accessible to everyone for your needs, because again, our focus is the 50+ community, and our motto is what is done for one is done for all. Okay, and I'd like to thank you for joining me, and I would also like to thank the care partners. And let's see, where is, and I don't see. Okay, here. Okay. Later on, you'll receive this information with home fit handouts, resources, along with some websites that you can visit. When you are, okay, here's the Occupational Therapy Association, the National Home Builders. Okay, so those are some resources, and you will get that information. Let's see. I'm gonna do this. I want to do this. Okay, so now another what I'd like to encourage you to do, because I have a couple more minutes, what I'd like to encourage you to do is, okay, don't just start thinking, oh, I got to do all of these things. Just get your pad and pencil and say, okay, I'm going to think of some things I need to do. I'm going to, and do an inventory. Just go from room to room and with your pad and pencil, and do an inventory of things that I need to do, or things that I could do to make things easier for me, to make my house safer for me. And then after you've made your list, going from room to room, then rank them in order of cost, and what it is that I can do myself. That would be at the top. And then going all the way down to the professional, those things. And then you go back again and you look at those, and then you think, okay, what is it that needs to do that's really pressing? And it's like, yeah, I didn't really think about that. And so you want to think about, what are some of those pressing issues that could really be a safety hazard, and you hadn't really given a lot of thought to it. So that would be high. And then just start doing those things little by little. And you know how it is for your for holidays, for Mother's Day, for Father's Day, for your birthday, for, oh, Ma, is there anything I can do for you? Oh, I've got my list here. I'm ready for you. I need some of those special handles, or can you get those swing out hinges for me? So you've got your list, and then you can say, so it's no longer, well, I don't really know. No, you've got your list of things. You need the rocker type light switches installed for you. Or you could just say, I've got a low cost or no cost things that something that you could do for me. You don't have to go out and spend your money. Just come and spend the day with me and help me on my list. And that's an option. Or if you belong to a community group, well, maybe you guys, you could go from house to house, helping each other out. And then I have to mention the Area Agency on Aging. That's a resource when it comes to having making modifications or having the grab bars. Now they have a long list. It's the Area Agency on Aging, and their number is 211. So you can contact them and find out what kind of program they have, and get on their list, because as you can imagine, that list is long. And also the Habitat, the Habitat for Houston, you can also contact them, because they have some senior programs where they come out and they do some modifications. Now, I don't think that they will come out and install, do a new shower tub, or some major modification like that. But there are some things that they will do. And so those are resources, local resources that you can use. And from time to time, you hear of different groups. So that's where the Area Agency on Aging would be a good resource. And maybe even at your church, that would be another resource, because some, we have our mission groups at the church, and sometimes they're just eager and they're just waiting. Okay, right. Okay, Troy Williams says a few home modification companies who can make various levels of changes. Okay, and you're giving us that information. Okay, so we want to go to our chat. And if anyone else knows of an organization or companies, then put that in the chat. This is our time to share. This is our sharing time. So put that information in the chat group. And let's see, I've got my little booklet here. And again, you go to aarp.org and Home Fit. They will send you this Home Fit guide. And let's see, my light might be too much, but it has plenty of pictures and it shows the different modifications, and it's a very very good guide, and it doesn't take them too long to get. And then also it is online, so you can so while you're making, you can go online, you can look at this, and then you get your pad out and you start writing, and then by the time your booklet comes in the mail for you to see it, you'll be ready. Get your tools, get your support group, and let's make our home livable, so that no one has. And I tell my family all the time, I tell people all the time, I don't want to leave. So I'll have drag marks where they will have to have dragged me out of the house, because I want to stay here. I want to be in my own space. And if you're a person who is a caregiver and you're working with someone, that who's older, who has dementia or Alzheimer's, that they don't like change, and they like living in their own space, and so we want to keep them happy for as long as we can, and keep them in their space, because that's where they're happiest. And I know there are times when they do have to move, or we will have to move, but what we want to do with the help of AARP and the recommendations is we want to make those home modifications. We want to make our home fit, and so that we can live in our homes for many, many years. And thank you.
Let's see.
Okay, are there any questions? If we have time.
Yes, we still have plenty of time if people have questions at home. And while we're waiting for that, I was thinking maybe we'll bring Troy up to talk a little bit about these different businesses that can help with the home modifications.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's, where I am in the industry, I get access to a lot of different resources, and in several of those are the four that I'm most familiar with that perform varying degrees of modifications in the home. So as an example, Handle with Care is a fireman-owned business out of Tomball, and does a great job on a lot of the simpler ramps, handrails, grab bars. You want to go all the way up to like the stair lift that Rosanade was showing. That would be one-on-one or one-on-one mobility. Christian Fitzmaurice, they do a great job. Those are some expensive changes. When you do a chair lift on stairs, I mean, depending on the complexity of your stairs, it can run anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000, right? Just put a chair lift in like that. But it's a one-time cost. And so if you're really adamant about staying in your home, and I have a lot of clients, right? I've had a lot of clients in 2 years. There's not been a single one who wants to move from their home. It's just,
No.
right? It's embedded in us. And so it doesn't, but sometimes you can't, but when you can, and you can make the physical facility safe, these are some resources that can help. And I always recommend, talk to two of them, because they're going to vary in pricing and they're going to vary in their kind of their sweet spots. You know, Christian in 101 mobility, probably not the best one to go to, for example, for the simple changes. And because he deals with a lot of the more complex, even van retrofits and the hardware for that. But they all carry some sort of hardware that's portable. Like a lot of ramps you can go buy now. You can go buy it at the big box stores, Lowe's, Home Depot. If you need ramps for an entry, just make sure that you understand the ADA requirements that make it safe, and it makes it easy for folks in wheelchairs or walkers. It's 1 foot of length for every 1 inch of rise. So if you have a 2-inch lip to put a ramp on, you need a 2-foot ramp, right? At least a 2-foot ramp. So little simple things like that, but those folks can help with that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that ramp. When my granddaughter was smaller, well, I just went and got a long piece of plywood.
Yep.
That worked for a little while. Yep. You know, so I would take it and I'd prop it up, and that worked for a little while, but no, that definitely would not work. So there are times when we do have to get a professional out, someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, especially if there's frequent visits. You know, I had my dad was a 33-year quadriplegic, and so he was eventually in electric chairs. And so in our home, there's no way he could have gotten in. We have 6 or 8-inch steps getting in all the doorways. And so, you know, I had to end up building a ramp that for our back door that would work for him. And so it was something we could use repeatedly when they come by and visit. So no, I understand, Rosanade. Yeah. One-time deal or a short stay, you bet. Put the plywood out.
Right. Yeah. And then also you want to, you can Google ADA, ADA modifications for your home, and then also and sometimes they're real simple things, like in your kitchen, for example. You could get you could get a cutting board and pull the drawer out, pull out a drawer, and you can put that cutting board on top of the drawer, and then that way you can slide your wheelchair under it, or you can turn your walker where you can sit on your walker and use that as a surface. So whether you're cutting up something, or maybe even eating there, or you know, or just preparing something. So sometimes there are just really small things that you could do, but just, you know, just Google some things, because we do want to stay in our homes, and then sometimes we want to make modifications that are temporary and not necessarily permanent.
Yep.
One thing, so sorry. I was just going to say one thing about 101 Mobility. We've worked with them a couple of times. Mm-hmm. They do rent out equipment. So they said that is one thing that they do, is they'll rent temporary equipment to people if it's only a short-term thing.
Sure. Yep. A lot of them have access, or they sell some of those simple solutions that Rosanade is talking about. You know, they're not just construction or reconstruction companies. A lot of them have inventories of some of these portable ramps, changes in the handles on the doors you mentioned, Rosanade. So, mm-hmm. You know, going from a doorknob to a latch type or a lever type. So they have those things in stock that make it simple. So, you know, you get your hands on those pretty quickly through them too. You know, the right tread to put on either cement, mm-hmm. or you can go even to your home health stores and get anti-skid tape, or I'm sorry, anti-slip. The anti-slip tape, you know, for floors and bathtubs and showers. And so, I mean, there's just a lot of places that have those things that you wouldn't think about, right, that have it. So.
Mm-hmm. One thing I might point out, and you did mention it, Rose, in your talk about the handlebars and things. You want to make sure that you get good ones and that they're put on correctly. Mm-hmm. My mother-in-law went out and bought one of those ones that have the suction cups on it. Oh my word. I went to her house and I pulled on that thing and it just came right off and it scared me to death. And I thought, oh no, we can't have this. If that would have been her that had happened to, it could have been a disaster. So, I think that's important. I know there's a company, Handle with Care, and I know Troy works with them a lot too. They do things like that. I know there's other companies out there that do that also. They'll come in, they'll make sure they're in the right place. That's important too, because if you don't put it in the right place, it's not going to be as effective and could even hinder you, could cause problems. So I think that's really important. One thing too that I learned from them that I thought was really interesting. I lived in an older home, and the doorways, of course, are very small. And trying to remodel the whole house to make that more accessible is quite costly and sometimes out of people's reach. But you can take the hinges and change out the hinges and give you a little bit extra room, and it
Right.
makes a big difference for
Right.
somebody that's on a walker or something. So it's just knowing who to talk to and get those little tricks of the trade that can help you to stay in your home or to have your home accessible to somebody who's coming to visit.
Right. Yeah. The homes, I'm not sure why it is. I'm going to talk to a construction person eventually about it, but just think about it in your own home. Where is other than a closet, where is the narrowest doors in your home?
Bathrooms.
Yeah. What's up with that? Right. And so they're 24-inch doors. And so they're the hardest to remodel. And so they don't even usually work with the rolling walkers, those 4-wheel walkers, the rollators, so because those are too wide, in those cases, the best type of walker is a standard walker, and a 2-wheel with the skids on the back. So you flip the wheels to the inside and at least get in the doorways that are narrow, but it's just the strangest thing how we build homes. It's not that hard to put a 32-inch door in a bathroom. It really shouldn't be. So.
I don't get it, Troy. I really don't. I've been frustrated with that because the builders keep building these houses knowing that there's more and more people that are reaching that 60 and above age group that are going to need accessibility. And why they don't just widen those doors, I don't know.
Right.
One thing that my grandparents did like 10 or so years ago, they actually built their home, and they were thinking about, as they were aging, how to make their home proper for them. So they created the doors with wider entrances. It's all on one floor. It's a very open plan. They have a walk-in shower, and both of them are still very, very mobile right now. But even 10 plus years ago, they were thinking about these kinds of things.
Right.
And so that's another option if you are thinking about creating your own retirement home or building your own home that you're going to live in for a long time. Thinking about these things early on can be really helpful as well.
Agree.
Absolutely.
And again, like I said, I had knee surgery, and and we don't think about those things. And there was no getting into that big bathtub. So we have to think of all those things. But again, if you go to the aarp.org website, you find a lot of information. They have checklists of that you can use as you're going through your house. And then also, like I said, using Google and looking for just typing in ADA or universal design, and they give you all kinds of little tips and tricks, things, for the water, where you can make the little thingy where the water flows out towards you. There's one with where you take a ruler and you cut it just right so you can use it to pull your the little tray in the oven, when you're pulling things out. There are a lot of little bitty things until you're in that position where you're needing these things. You don't think about it because if you're sitting in your wheelchair, or if you've got trouble, really bending over, and then, trying to get that oven rack out, that can be an issue, that can be a problem. So there are a lot of little bitty things. And also, if you're using an occupational therapist or a physical therapist, when you're thinking about these changes or modifications, they are a good resource for you, because our needs are sometimes, they're not universal. Sometimes there are some things that need to be made individually, because as Catherine said, if the grab bars aren't in just the right space, then they can become a hazard. But your OT or your PT person you could work with them on getting that information, and getting just the right placement for those things.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Somebody pointed out here too that the Boy Scouts, especially those that need Eagle projects, have done ramps and other projects. There are resources out there if you cannot afford these things. So reach out. That's a great idea. I wouldn't have thought of that, but yes, that's a great idea.
My younger brother actually did his Eagle project, was building a ramp at,
There you
it was,
go.
we actually lived in Singapore at the time, and it was like a rehabilitation house. And so they built a ramp on the outside of it. So yeah, that is another resource out there. I wanted to take a look at the comments really quick before we wrap up. Someone mentioned it would be great if builders offered wider doors as upgrades, kind of like they do with lighting and floors. It would just give more options, and I think that's a great, true statement.
Agree.
Here's another one. I think we can each look at our own business facilities and adapt some of these ideas to make them more friendly, make organizations more friendly too. I think that's something that, just as the world is aging, as America's population is aging, I think that's very important to keep in mind.